जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय 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 यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यशोदानंदन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय ब्रज जनरंजन जय यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरावनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gora Haribol Nitai Gora Haribol Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Shri Harinam Sankirtan King. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Rottama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter 68, verse number 47. Naivalikam aham manye vachasते madhusudana ambaya eva hi prayah kanyayah syadrati kvache. Naivalikam aham manye vachasते madhusudana ambaya eva hi prayah kanyayah syadrati kvache. Naivalikam aham manye vachasते madhusudana ambaya eva hi prayah kanyaya shadrati kvache. Word to word meaning na, not. Eva, indeed. Alikam, false. Aham, I. Manye, think. Vacha, words. Te, your. Madhusudana, O killer of Madhu. Ambayaha, of Amba. Eva, eva he, certainly. Prayah, generally. Kanyayaha, the maiden. Shat, arose. Rati, attraction. Kvachit, once. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Translation. Actually, I don't consider your words false, Madhusudana. Quite often, an unmarried girl is attracted to a man, as in the case of Amba. Purport. Having refuted everything, Lord Krishna said, Srimati Rukmini, in a gracious frame of mind, now praises the truthfulness of his statements. In other words, she accepts that Lord Krishna used her as an example to elucidate ordinary female psychology. The king of Kashi had three daughters, Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika, and Amba was attracted to Salva. This story is narrated in the Mahabharata. Chant prayers. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखामृतंश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री गौरताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की Hare Krishna. So, should we speak in Hindi or English? Hindi? Hindi. English, okay, definitely. So, we should speak in English because I hope everyone can understand English here. Yes? Okay, so we will speak in English. So, I seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas who are present here so that we can speak something for the glorification of Lord and for our own purification. So, this section of Srimad Bhagavatam is very wonderful where we are studying or reading wonderful uh, dealings between Krishna and Mother Rukmini. And this, I think this section has been going on since quite a time, right? Almost 15-20 days, maybe, or maybe a month or so. So, very wonderful section. And as in the previous purport, Srila Prabhupada says that how Lord wonderfully reciprocates the loving dealings with his devotees, right? And how the dealings between Lord and his devotees is very wonderful. In fact, Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with the description of Lord and the description of loving dealings between the Lord and his devotees, right? So Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita is completely filled with that. And when we hear or read about the dealings between Lord and his devotees, it completely satisfies the heart, because in this material world the dealings which we see are material. What do we mean by spiritual love and material love? There is a great difference, what we say hell and heaven difference. When we talk about material love, so material love is centered around oneself, right? Selfish we can say motivations, where I am the center and no matter what happens, whether someone else is happy or not, it doesn't matter for me. I should be happy. My sense gratification should not be hindered, right? So that is what is the materialistic understanding. And we see that how people in this material world, they can go up to any extent to fulfill their desires for sense gratification. Hmm. So that is what is the material understanding, that I am the center. Whenever the materialistic people or the people who is having that materialistic consciousness, he deals with some other person or he goes to some situation, the first question which comes to his mind is, what is there in it for me, right? That is what is the first thing which he starts thinking, and this is default. This is the default setting of the people. It's not that they consciously, in a planned manner, they think about it. Just like there is default frequency setting. If you switch on something, whatever, maybe if you switch on your FM radio, there is some default frequency, immediately it gets tuned to it. Similarly, the materialistic people are completely tuned into that what is in it for me, what I will gain from this, how my sense gratification will become better if I do this, right? And because of this understanding and because of this tendency, the materialistic people, they can never experience true love. They can never experience true love, neither they are happy, right? They are never happy. So that's why in the material world, there are so many problems, and the major problems are the relationship problems, where people, they cannot maintain their relationship because of the selfish propensities. Generally, the relationships in the material world is about give and take. It's about fulfilling the needs. If your needs match, then the relationship exists. If your needs are not matching, then the relationship will not exist, right? If your needs are not matching, then what will happen? The relationship will break. It is the mutual satisfaction of needs. It is like you scratch my back, I scratch your back. So it is the mutual understanding between the people. And that's why we see so many uh, uh, problems going on in this world where people are not concerned about each other. Ultimately, what brings the happiness to the person? Even in the previous times, even though people were not, in one sense, they were not, uh, like sometimes back, some decades back, people were not so spiritual to say. They were spiritual, relatively, they were more spiritual, but they were not so spiritual also. But definitely, because there were uh, some basis of the relationship, some little bit of selflessness was existing. That's why people were relatively more happy in the earlier times. Because when we don't experience any satisfaction in the relationships, then it's very difficult to be happy, right? It's very, very difficult to be happy in this in this world actually, right? Because if we are not experiencing Krishna consciousness. For the materialistic people, they say money can buy everything, but money cannot buy happiness, money cannot buy true love. That's what they talk about. So definitely they are not Krishna conscious, and their loving dealings are based on selfish agendas. So that's why they cannot experience that happiness, they cannot experience that satisfaction. But when we talk about the spiritual dealings or spiritual love, it is completely different. Mm. So in the when we talk about spiritual love, or the love which is centered around Krishna, right? So the whole paradigm shift is there, because first there is Krishna and then there is everyone else, right? So this is a very important understanding, that first there is Krishna. Now sometimes we feel, okay, first there is Krishna and then everyone else. It means that everyone else becomes less important, and people sometimes may start feeling insecure, right? People start feeling insecure. Okay, like for example, it says in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about the dealings of the mothers and the children when this Brahma Vimohan Leela was going on. So it says that the mothers, they loved their children a lot, but still they loved Krishna more. So Parikshit Maharaj gets this question, that how can a mother, or how can parents, they love someone else's child more than their own child? That's what is the question, right? But it is the natural attraction of soul for Krishna, so that cannot be denied, right? The soul, by its own constituent nature, loves Krishna more than anything else. That's what is our real nature. And does it hampers the other loving relationships in this world? Definitely not. Definitely not. Because when we see everyone else in relation to Krishna, then our relationships become more deeper, and they become more fulfilling and more satisfying. So, and that selfish element of me being the center, right? And me being always happy, me trying to gratify my own senses. And if my senses are not satisfied, then I will do whatever I can to satisfy my senses. So that element is not there. When Parikshit Maharaj was hearing from Sukadev Goswami, this narration comes in 6th canto, where Shukdev Goswami, he narrated the description of hellish planets. Very wonderful description, and everyone should read about it. It's the description of hellish planets, right? And then Parikshit Maharaj becomes concerned. Concerned for whom? He was already absorbed in Krishna consciousness. He had taken darshan of Krishna right in the womb of his mother, right? And he had nothing to give and take from this material world because he had already renounced everything. And with a desire to go back home, back to Godhead, he was sitting at the banks of Ganges hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was completely absorbed. So he was definitely going back home, back to Godhead. So for whom he was worried? So he was worried for the living entities. As soon as he heard the description, immediately the worry came in his mind. He started thinking, okay, so the living entities, they have to undergo so many sufferings. So what is the way out? How they can be elevated? And then Shukadev Goswami describes him about the bhakti path and describes him about the glories of chanting the holy names, and then describes him about the pastime of Ajamila. Right? So that's why Prabhupada writes in the purport there that a Vaishnava is paradukha dukhi. Right? In this material world, when we see other people suffering, we become happy. Right? Our happiness, we are so sadistic. Sadistic pleasure means when we see others disturbed or unhappy, we become unhappy or disturbed. Right? When we see others, when we see others unhappy or disturbed, we become happy. We become happy. That is what is our happiness. Right? When our success is the failures of others. When we see others failing, we feel, oh, I am successful. When we see others are suffering, we feel, I am happy. Right? Like there is a, very wonderful story which I don't know where it is given, but it talks about how people are jealous. Right? So there were two neighbors who were staying. I think all of you must be knowing this story. Two neighbors were staying next to each other, and then one neighbor, he worshipped some goddess and got the benediction, and the benediction was whatever he desires will get fulfilled. So so he started desiring wonderful things, and he got wonderful material benedictions. And the other neighbor who was staying next, he became worried. He started thinking, Array, how he is prospering so much, why he has so much money, why he is having so many facilities. So he wanted to find out what did he do and how he got so much money. So then he found out that this person has worshipped some goddess, and he had got the benediction. So he thought, I will also do the same. So he was very jealous. And then he worshipped the goddess. And the goddess appeared. And the benediction he asked was very interesting. He didn't ask anything else. He said, he was so jealous. He was so jealous that he said, I just want whatever he asked for, I just want double of that. That's it. So if he asks for a house, I will get two houses. If he asks for some money, so I will get double of that. Right? So that was the benediction he asked for. Right? So then this person, when he started asking, the first person, he started asking the goddess something, and the other person, he got double of what the first person asked for. And the first person started getting jealous. Right? He started feeling, Arey, what is this happening? Earlier I was superior to him, right? In this material world, whatever, have you ever observed that how the relationships work in this material world? Right? In this material world, or generally, especially in India, at least we talk about, even in India, there are societies, right? There are people who still maintain the relationships. But you know how it works? It works, all of you must have experienced, perhaps more than me. How it works is it's about show off. It's about show off. They will talk to each other, okay, my son is doing this. Even the son may be doing nothing, but still, my son is doing this, he is earning this much money, my son is in America. Sometimes some relatives would come and they would speak to us that my son is staying in America. So then we would just discuss, They never tell what their son is doing in America. Maybe he's sweeping the floor, but he's staying in America, so he's superior to everyone else, right? So my son is staying here, my son is earning this much money, and if he is earning some package, they will increase it to double the amount. Who knows and who has seen it, and they will quote it that this is how my son earns, and this is the money we have. Even in the marriage party, sometimes the marriage ceremonies in India are so lavish. Crores of rupees are spent. Why? For show off. For show off. Is it going to return in some way or other? No. They just spend the money. It's just gone. It's just like burning firecrackers. When it is gone, once it is gone, gone. So the money is gone. But for what they have spent? For show off. Because they want to show that, okay, this much is my prosperity. This is what is the thing, right? Even the gifts, even the so-called gifts are exchanged. That is also a show off, right? Everyone writes down, makes a list. Okay, this was the ceremony, this was the function in our home. The list is made. This person gave this much. This much was approximately the amount of the thing he gave, and this person gave this much. This much was the amount. The whole list is ready. And next time when ceremony is there in that person's house, they will ensure that they have given little more than this, right? So this is how the things go on, and there is so much of competition, right? Mutual competition. People are uh, people are not tired of, right, showing to others. Many times people, they pass out from various elite colleges, and then they go to foreign countries, and the parents are so happy, and the son may be coming after 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to look after their parents, and he may be really talking, and all he gives is the only money, nothing else. But still, parents are very happy. They may be happy staying in the old age homes. They're very happy. Why? Why they're very happy? Show off. Yes, my son, even though he doesn't come any times or he doesn't looks after me, but my son stays in foreign country, right? So he is better. I am better than others, right? So this is what is the reality of the relationships in this world. How there is always competition. How we want to always show off, right? And how we feel that when I have established my superiority over others, that will make me happy. Other people's, what do we say? Other people's uh, failure is my success. When other is failing, then I am successful, right? There used to be one devotee was sharing with me long back when we were studying in college. So, and even now, the students also sometimes share with me. Like yesterday, only one student was sharing that she has done very nicely. She tried to do nicely in the exam. She could not do that well, and then she started telling, but sir, all others also have done badly, and the paper was tough. So even others have not done well. I asked everyone else, and they could not do that well, right? So the point is, and that devotee was telling that I went and I saw the grades, and I had scored less, and so I was little worried. When I came out, I started asking others, and others had scored far lesser than me. So I was worried earlier, but when I asked others' scores, I became happy because they had scored far lesser than me. So I was better off. So he was not worried about his own score and he was not worried about his own progress. But if others are not uh, performing as good as you are, or the other's failure is my success, right? So that's what is the thing. So anyhow, so these two neighbors, they were they were uh, uh, so this first neighbor, he started becoming jealous. So he would ask anything, and this person would get double of that. So then he found out what is happening, and then he understood that he has got a benediction by which whatever I will ask, he will get double. So he became very jealous. So he said, he prayed to the goddess. Now you see to what extent the envy and jealousy can go. So he prayed to the goddess that let one of my eye let me become blind with one of my eyes. So he became blind. The other person became blind with one of his eyes. And the other person, he became blind with both of his eyes. Right? So that's how the things go on, where we are not happy seeing others' happiness. Right? But in the spiritual love, it's about uh, being genuinely concerned about others, right? When we center our love around Krishna, then we can make genuine relationships. Then we get purified, and then we don't have our own selfish agendas and selfish motivations. We are more worried about the other person's happiness, the other person's welfare. Uh, we are when we see that the other person is not happy, that makes us unhappy. We don't take sadistic pleasure in seeing others distress, right? So when Srila Prabhupada was uh, there, and he was watching some people who were enjoying down, means he was upstairs, watching from the, I think, terrace or the window of some room, and he was watching people who were enjoying a lot downstairs. So he kept on watching for some time, and devotees were surprised what Srila Prabhupada is seeing there. And after some time, he started crying. And then he said, "Ki these people, they feel that they are enjoying so much, but actually they are suffering." So Srila Prabhupada, he had so much compassion that he could feel for the sufferings of other living entities, right? And that's how his compassion, of course, the under the instructions of his spiritual master, mm, but the compassion that he felt for all the living entities, and even the songs which he wrote, he was very much distressed by seeing the how the living entities, they have become averse to Krishna. Hmm? And he was praying to Krishna that let them come to your lotus feet. And that's how Srila Prabhupada established this entire Krishna conscious society. So this entire Krishna conscious society was actually, we can say, it is the manifestation of love of Srila Prabhupada for all the living entities, for all of us who are averse to Krishna, and it gives everyone an opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. Once Srila Prabhupada was walking by, and so many people, uh, they wanted to come and touch the feet of Srila Prabhupada, and devotees had to ask them, because in India there is a tradition that if you see someone superior, you touch their feet. So, so they wanted to touch the feet of Srila Prabhupada, and devotees had to stop the people who were coming. And then Srila Prabhupada asked them, "Do you know why they are after me?" So devotees, they could not answer. He said, "Because I don't have lust. That's why." So he said, "I have true love. That's why." So Srila Prabhupada, he was the genuine well-wisher. That's why the living entities were completely attracted to him. Why we are so much attracted to our spiritual master? Right? If we are practicing Krishna consciousness properly, then we will get lot of attraction to our spiritual master, even though he may not be on regular basis dealing with us. Why we do that? Why we feel like that? Because he has genuine selfless love. He doesn't have any tinge of material emotions or material feelings, right? So that's why we feel love for all the wonderful senior Vaishnavas, because they are free from this material lust. They are not worried about their own happiness. They are not worried about their own selfish uh, agendas. They are worried about how we can be happy, how we can be satisfied. Like for example, when I when like what did I appreciate the most in the association of devotees when first time I came in the association? So the thing which I appreciated the most was the service attitude of the devotees, and how they are more worried about others than they are worried about themselves, right? And how they are selfless, right? In the material world, we see selfish people who are more worried about their own sense gratification. So that was something which actually attracted me. And now also we tell to the people that if you want to experience genuine relationships, if you want to experience genuine love and affection, then come in the association of Vaishnavas and experience that thing. And that is what can completely satisfy our heart. And if we try to do anything else, if we try to base our relationships on the selfish agendas and selfish motivations, it is not going to satisfy us. So once I was there in, I was sick. So I was quite sick, and I was just uh, feeling lonely a little bit, and then of course everything, all facilities were there with me, in the sense prasadam was coming, everything was coming, and but suddenly I started feeling ki why no one is coming to meet me, and why no one is bringing garlands for me, because that time it was the devotees used to do that. If someone was in the sick room, so then some senior devotees, sometimes it would happen that they would go and give him the garland, and garland of this Mahaprasad, Mahaprasad garland, so that the person feels blessed and he can get quick recovery. So I started feeling, why no one is bringing Mahaprasad? Why no one is bringing garlands? Why no one is coming to meet me to ask about my well-being? How am I and what I am doing, what I am not doing? So I had such feelings, and I felt everyone is busy in their own world. Of course, devotees were coming. Those who were supposed to come, they were coming. So, so then so then this thought went on in my mind for almost 2 3 days. Then suddenly I was hearing some lectures, and then suddenly the thought came that okay, I am expecting devotees to come to me and meet me and talk to me, show some sympathy towards me. But when others were sick, even once I go to them and meet them? Did I even once did I take garlands for them? Even once I took Mahaprasad for them? The answer was no. I never did it. So I never did it, right? And I was expecting others to do it with me, right? So then I got a feeling, I got an understanding that you may have too much of expectation from others. The best course of action is what you expect from others, start doing it to others, right? And then when I started doing something, some exactly I did not do the same thing, but I started doing some things with devotees, some selfless reciprocations. I felt lot of satisfaction within my own heart. I did not feel the need of anyone then. I was happy serving. I was happy reciprocating love with others. I was happy giving to them. I was not like a like we say uh, expecting others to do something good for me, right? So that's how the spiritual reciprocations they work, and there are so many lot of examples. Like last time we were discussing about the pastime of Madhavendra Puri. So how Madhavendra Puri's love for Krishna was so subtle and so fine. The spiritual loving reciprocations are very very fine, right? Like I was telling you that how in this pastime of Brahmana, Brahman Patnis, the wives of the Brahmanas, and the Krishnas and his cowherd, Krishna and his cowherd friends were there, cowherd boys were there, and uh, they go and ask for food first from the Brahmanas. So Brahmanas deny, and then they ask from the wives of the Brahmanas, and wives of Brahmanas they happily give whatever prasadam they had. So how it started? It started by like the Gopas. They tell Krishna that we are feeling very hungry, right? We are feeling very hungry, and then the acharyas they give purport that Gopas were not worried about their hunger. It was noon time, and they were worried about Krishna's hunger, right? So if they would have told Krishna directly that Krishna, you must be hungry, so let us go and take prasadam, so Krishna would not have agreed. Because Krishna was not worried about himself. Krishna was worried about his devotees, right? So they knew how to uh, get something from Krishna, right? So they said, Krishna, we are hungry. So as soon as Krishna heard, oh, my devotees are hungry, so then let us go and try to arrange some prasadam, right? So we can see how it is so subtle. The devotees were worried about Krishna, and Krishna was worried about his devotees, right? And so same way it happens everywhere. Even the loving reciprocations between two devotees, right? It is about that, right? The devotees are more worried about others, right? Like there is a description in Bhagavatam about Gop Kumar. So Gop Kumar was there in Dwarka. He does his journey step by step, and he goes to the upper planets. So and his journey was gradual. So he was in search of the highest destination. So he goes to many destinations. He goes to Indraloka, he goes to Brahmaloka, the highest planet. He goes to Brahmajyoti, he goes to Shivaloka, Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Dwaraka. So when he was in Dwaraka, so he was actually a devotee of Gopal, or the form of Krishna in Vrindavan. He was attracted to the form of Krishna in Vrindavan. So he would not get satisfied with anything else, any other form of Krishna, right? So he would, because he was chanting that mantra, Hare, like we chant Hare Krishna Maha mantras. He was also chanting some mantra. So he felt, and he was actually, his eternal Swarupa was there in the Golok Vrindavan. So he had lot of attraction for that Gopal form. So he was not feeling that satisfaction in Dwaraka because Krishna was there in Aishwarya form. So he was not feeling that satisfaction. So he would feel distressed, unhappy, but it says that he would not want to show off his or show his distress to others, because he would feel that if others see my distress, they will become unhappy or they will become distressed. So he would try to contain his emotions, so that others don't become unhappy seeing him. Right. So that's how these are the spiritual reciprocations. And sometimes we may feel that if we go deeper in Krishna consciousness, the loving reciprocations in this material world will become disturbed. This is a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding, right? This is not a proper understanding. And if sometimes we feel that we are advanced, and because of our advancement we are not able to properly reciprocate, or we are not able to do proper justice to the various relationships we are having, that means we are actually not advanced. We are in some illusory platform, right? We are in some illusory platform because we may be in some hallucination. We are feeling that I am very advanced, and being advanced, because Krishna conscious philosophy, there is a philosophy and there is application of the philosophy, and both are completely, not completely different, but it applies differently in different situations, right? So when we, even in Srila Prabhupada's so many pastimes, we see that how he was very practical. Uh, so sometimes we may see, okay, some devotee is there, he is sick. So anyhow, he is not his body, he is a spirit soul, right? And better, he goes back home, back to Godhead little early. So he will be relieved from his miseries. So better we don't take care of him, right? Rather we tell him कि प्रभु जी छोड़ो ये सब, इस चक्कर में मत पड़ो. This material world is so place of misery. If you stay here, you will be always miserable, right? So better you give up. You give up your body. Go back home, back to God. So that is not the thing. When devotees are sick, we try to take best care of them. And in one of the lectures I heard, it says that why do we take care of devotees? Why we talk like in when we are dealing with devotees, we ensure that we don't hurt their emotions or we don't hurt their sentiments or feelings. We talk in a very filtered manner. The type of filtered dealings I have learned here, I have never seen anywhere else. The type of Krishna conscious filtered dealings, we do it in a very filtered way, right? Very, very filtered. So why do we do that? Why do we take care of Vaishnavas? Why do we take care of the body of a Vaishnava? What is the need? Right? So it says that the body of a Vaishnava is a vehicle. It is a vehicle for him to go closer to Krishna. He uses that vehicle to go closer to Krishna. And when we are taking care of his body, we are assisting him in his whatever, in his going closer to Krishna. Similarly, the mind is also a type of vehicle. If mind is disturbed, if we disturb the Vaishnava by our unkind dealings, then what will happen? He will be disturbed. He will not be able to perform his Krishna consciousness properly. Anyhow, we will get Vaishnava Prat. First thing is that. If you disturb a Vaishnava, you will get Vaishnava Prat. That is first thing. And still, even if you are not committing Vaishnava Prad, or even if you are trying to communicate something, still we think a lot how to communicate to him so that it doesn't get disturbed. Why? Because his mind should not get disturbed. Because he is practicing Krishna consciousness, his practice of Krishna consciousness should not be disturbed. Because that is what is the most important thing, right? So that's why when we develop love for Krishna, that's why Srila Prabhupada used to say there are various levels of love. First person is the person who is self-centered, he loves only himself. Second level is he loves his family. Third level is he loves his society, then the country, then the humanity, and the ultimate level is the love of Godhead. Because ultimately, when one develops love for Krishna, he develops love for all other living beings and living entities. Then, what to say of human beings? He doesn't want to even trouble the other living entities, the trees, the plants. He doesn't want to trouble the animals, anyone else, right? So that's why we have to understand that the real loving reciprocations, they exist in spiritual circle only, and we should not try to too much search for such things in the material world, because ultimately our search will be frustrated in due course of time. Because it says that the material world, people may show lot of love, care and affection, or they may show lot of good qualities, but as soon as there is slight opportunity or a slight the condition is there where their sense gratification is about to get hindered, then what they will do? They will immediately show their real color, right? So that's why uh, in spiritual circles we can find the true love, and we have to understand that when we develop our love for Krishna, then all our loving reciprocations will become wonderful. We will become more responsible uh, in our dealings, and because we see everything in connection with Krishna. So recently we had a Grahastha seminar, and just, I will end with this. So the very important things they spoke. They spoke something which was completely a paradigm shift for all of us. Sometimes we are somehow in a situation, we start feeling, oh, because the grass on the other side is always greener, right? So the person on the one side, he thinks the other side is better. And the person on that side, he thinks, oh, why I am not in that situation? That situation is better, right? So ultimately, in whatever situation we are, we have to practice Krishna consciousness. So then they were telling about the grahasthas, that how sometimes, because the family, the wives and the children, they are not materialistic people, they are Vaishnavas, and if we take care of them, it is actually devotional service. And Srila Prabhupada said to the mothers that if you take care of your child, it is actually deity worship. It is actually deity worship. Child worship is deity worship. This was the statement. Now, someone may feel it is materialistic. It is propagation of materialistic consciousness, right? But definitely it is not, right? We are more worried about uh, like uh, the the serving others. We are not worried about our own gratification, right? So that's how the spiritual consciousness expands. And when we are actually uh, 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 going or advancing in Krishna consciousness, we get that complete understanding, and we become more responsible. And we don't stay in that hallucinatory world of so-called, like sometimes people stay in their own mental world. He has his own mental world where he is the king, he is the boss, he is the pure devotee, he is the most advanced person, and he deals everyone in that way. And the person feels, I am there to give mercy to everyone, and whomever I am dealing with, it's my mercy, right? It happens. It's not a joke, it happens. People start staying in their mental world where they feel superior to everyone else, right? So that's why uh, by uh, practice of Krishna consciousness, we can become more practical, we can become more responsible, and we can get complete understanding of the so-called love of this material world, and our lust can transform into love. Lust means me at the center. I want to get the benefit. I want everything for myself, right? I want my gratification. But love means the happiness of the other person. And the happiness of the, just trying to work for the happiness of other person is not enough. That is also one thing. Because sometimes we see, like a father is there. Sometimes it happens in this world. The father is there. The son says, I need some money. And father happily gives. And son goes and smokes, he drinks, he does all types of nonsense, right? So the father is thinking that I am very responsible father. I'm taking care of my son very nicely. How? By giving him a lot of money and let him do gratification. Sometimes the father has his own history of a lot of things before the birth of the child. So he feels that my son should not be bereft of the pleasures which I got. So let me give him all the pleasures, right, from his whatever teenage, right? So sometimes even parents, they tell their children to do sense gratification, even intoxication, right? So just being worried about the other person or so-called selflessness is not enough. We have to understand what is good for the person, what is not good for the person. So that's why the complete thing will come only when we are Krishna conscious, or when we are properly advancing in Krishna consciousness. So I think uh, that's it. There is a lot more to speak, but time is not there. I have already crossed the time. So thank you very much. I am sorry if I have spoken something beyond my realizations. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki